Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. It's JT here from Work It Daily. Getting closer to see you all. So this begins week 4 of the 28-day career reinvention challenge. If you've been following along with me week by week, you have been working on some pretty deep exercises designed to get you thinking in a whole new direction about your career and even your life, really, when you think about it. So I want to take the next 15 minutes for those of you that are watching live to talk a little bit about last week's exercise and definitely dive into what you're going to be doing this week, which I did drop already. It's already posted inside the challenge coursework inside Work It Daily. So you can go over there and grab that if you haven't already. Really quickly, for those of you that are logging on, we have hundreds of thousands of subscribers here on YouTube. Not all of them are members of the Work It Daily program yet. But if you stay with us for the next 15 minutes and all this sounds super interesting to you and you're thinking, gee, I want to do a career reinvention. Well, good news, you can absolutely participate. This is a course that I designed for people who really want to do the work necessarily to feel better and to find hope again and really put their career in a direction that gets them excited. So it was part of a New Year's resolution challenge, but honestly, it's evergreen now, and you can start this course at any time. And all you have to do is go over and be an active member of Work It Daily. So be sure to click our link and learn about our membership service. We are the most affordable and accessible career coaching company in the world. I say that with such pride, and the only place where you're going to find the Career Reinvention Challenge. So check it out for sure. All right, enough with the plug. Let's get down to business. So last week's exercise, I had you really diving into your belief statements and coming up with a belief system. And all of the supplemental videos that I gave you throughout the week, it was there to challenge you to think deeply about, what do you believe in? How have your beliefs been shaped? And is it possible that some of the beliefs that you've been holding on to so tightly, are not serving you anymore, that maybe they need to be retired and replaced with things that were better suited for who you are today as a person, as a professional. And I shared with you in that my own experience. I actually gave you examples of the beliefs that I use to create transformation in my own career. Yes, I use this program that everybody is going through. And notice I used the word use, not used past tense, because the skills that you learn in the Career Reinvention Challenge are there to help you for a lifetime. What's going to happen is that you're going to hit a roadblock like you have. That's what brought you to this challenge. You're going to work through it with the help of these tools, and you're going to get on your way. But eventually, you're going to get stuck again. That's just life. But next time around, you're going to know exactly what to do. And a key piece of that is identifying and isolating, as you have through this challenge, the areas where you've had negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative interpretations of things that have happened to you in your career. And people will say, but JT, they happened. And I'll say, well, things happened and you had an experience. But as you've all learned by going through this challenge, you interpreted the experience as negative. You made the story go negative. And so what we've been working on these last couple of weeks is isolating those negative stories, but now thinking about, what are the beliefs that caused me to think that in the first place? Why did I think that was a negative thing or a bad thing? And how can I learn and how can I grow from that? And what new beliefs do I need in place to help make that happen? So I'm very excited about some of the results that I saw inside our private Slack community with all of you talking about this, and just the aha moments that people had around the fact that, oh my gosh, it's true. And, I gave a couple examples for those of you that want to learn more about this. Last week, go back and watch week 3's challenge live on YouTube. And I give you some of my own personal examples around, for example, money. So much of the time, I've coached thousands of people as a career therapist. I've had people tell me their story, and so many of them are around their thoughts around money, what money gives them or doesn't give them, and how that impacts their ability to succeed. And that's just one of many. So I challenged everybody last week to create a new belief system and use that going forward. This week's challenge is going to be for you to now rewrite your career narrative, your career story. So you're going to look at that original story that you wrote with all of its twists and turns and negativity. And now you're going to have to rewrite it. And there's some conditions in terms of how you write it that I'm not going to share here. This is only for my private members. So when you go in and log in and download the exercise, you'll see. But I'm giving you some constraints that are going to force you to write this story in a very efficient manner. And that's very important because as you've all been learning over these last 21 days so far, with 7 to go, that you've got a lot going on up in this brain. In fact, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Studies show that 25% of our calories burnt every day are from the noggin, your brain. And sometimes I feel like when my brain's on fire, when I'm thinking about so much, it feels like 75%. So if you've ever sat and wondered, why do I feel so tired at the end of the day, even though I didn't, run a marathon? It has to do with your brain running and running and running and running, and oftentimes running in stress mode, negative mode. So our job is to simplify that, is to fix that, is to get the story that you're telling in your head simplified and positive, and really get it functioning to a level that just clears out and frees up energy that you need to be able to think about your future. So I'm very excited because I started dropping some videos this week, and they went live today if you haven't seen them, but they're all around sort of the highlights of what we've been learning over the last couple of weeks. So if you haven't checked out the video series on career change, you'll see it here on YouTube. Be sure to check those out as well. But they go over all these finer points that we've been talking about. And I think the hardest part of career reinvention going forward, once you rewrite your career narrative, is going to be committing yourself to continue these habits. The real goal of this challenge was to give you a really new and positive, powerful habit every day, which was to focus on some ideas and concepts that you really had never explored before, and to focus on them every single day. We know that you need new habits in order to succeed. And if you don't have those new habits, you're just going to fall back into your old ones. So in order to get your career reinvented and in a new direction, I had to retrain your brain. I had to get you thinking differently every single day. I had to break down those really entrenched habits of negative self-talk and get your brain curious and going off in different directions and different tangents in order to spark that curiosity, build up that muscle, that new mindset, so that you could use it going forward. And based on what I've seen so far with the results and everybody jumping in there, it seems like it's working, which is so exciting. Just 3 weeks in. I mean, think about it. Everybody that's part of the challenge 3 weeks ago, you had the end of the year, I would say the hangover, right? The holiday hangover. You're negative, you're down, you joined this challenge. It's 3 weeks now. And here you are, ready to rewrite your career narrative. And then the best part is, and a little notice for you, even though it's a 28-day challenge, even though it was designed to be 4 weeks long, next week I'm going to give you a bonus exercise. I'm going to give you a little extra because you're going to want to keep going. And I knew that. I knew from experience you were going to want to keep going. And so you'll be able to tune in next week and get that bonus exercise and really celebrate going forward all that you've accomplished over the last 4 weeks, okay? All right. So I'm going to stop there, see if I can get this chat going. Let me bring that up here. There you all are. I didn't want to get distracted, so I didn't bring the chat up until I could see you, until I could finish what I was saying. What I'm going to do now is take any questions that you have regarding the challenge, specifically regarding either last week, the belief systems, or this week, rewriting your career narrative, okay? So I'll be excited to answer all that for you. In the meantime, let me give a shout out to all the folks that are signing in today. Sylvia, Doogie, Carla, Craig, Teo, Nasir, Charmaine, Matt, Daniel, Michael, and some other names that are look like names that aren't real names, so I won't pronounce them. Like, hey, 12136, I can't pronounce this. But for the rest of them, it's good to have you all here. So if you've got questions around the challenge or even just comments, I'd love to hear from you all. What you're experiencing so far with this 3 weeks in with 1 week to go. And if you've had any aha moments, I'm all about the aha moments. But most importantly, of course, if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them as we lead into this week and you start working on that. All right. So while I'm waiting for that, again, I'm just going to say for anybody that's been watching this right now, if you're not a member of Work It Daily, why aren't you trying us? I know that my team who's monitoring this will pop in a very special discount code for you. If you want to get on board today, if today's the day where you're saying, I've had it, I've got to think differently about my career, I want to think better, I want to get results, come join us in the challenge because you can start at any time, right? And work at your own pace. But we'll give you a special code so you can get in there and get started with us today. Again, there's no other program out there in the world like us. You will not find any place where you literally can log in, get 24/7 access to all this powerful content, as well as support from trained career coaches. and as well as, and probably my favorite part, be part of a private community. So a place where it's not out on the internet, where anybody can see it. It's not out on social media, a nice private place where you can get feedback, where you can talk with other people about what's going on in your career and not risk or feel, worried that it's, out there and your boss is going to find it, or, whoever's going to find it. So we have a really amazing platform in terms of our courses, our coaching, our coaches, myself and the team, and then of course our community. So let's take a look. It looks like I've got a couple questions now. One from Carla. Carla says, what if you're feeling stuck and have no idea what career you want to do? You just know you want to work from home. All right, Carla. Well, we're stepping in the right direction. Carla knows she wants to work from home. That's great, Carla. So Carla, I'm assuming you're working on the challenge. And once you get through this week, there'll be a bonus exercise next week that'll help you start to focus on that. But what I would advise you to do, believe it or not, is you're ready to work on our job search plan. So now that you're almost done the challenge, you're going to be ready to go and start our next course. And it's called the Job Search Plan. And it's the plan that teaches you how to figure out what you want. So what you're going to do is inventory your strengths and figure out your preferences. And then you're going to be able to work on, okay, what does that look like? How do I create a list of companies that meet my criteria and would leverage my strengths, which we teach you how to do step by step. And then we're going to show you how to build your resume and your cover letter and your LinkedIn profile so that you can proactively reach out to these companies and let them know you exist. People don't understand today that over 80% of all jobs are gotten via referral. And what that means is that you know somebody who knows somebody at that organization, or you yourself make the introduction to somebody that works at that organization. Less than 3% of people who apply online ever hear from an employer. Applying to jobs online without any context, without any connection it's kind of like playing the lottery. Only slightly better odds, which who wants to play those odds when you're wasting 45 minutes to an hour filling out some online application only to never hear back again? So what you want to do, especially if you want to work from home, which to you it's something unique, right? Those jobs are non-traditional. You want to build a game plan and a strategy to market yourself, Kayla, as a business of one, right? Even though you want to be an employee, you really are a business of one. And we teach you how to do that in the job search plan. So my advice is you start at the very beginning of the job search plan. Don't jump around. People make that mistake. They jump right to the resume section. You don't know yet what you need to market about yourself. So you start at the beginning and you work your way through. And when you're done, you're going to have this beautiful custom game plan to work off of. Okay. And you'll figure it out. It'll come together for you with the help of the community and with our coaches. We'll help you get there. Okay. All right. How can I start a new career without having experience like landscaping? I've only worked as a groundskeeper and a porter in the apartment industry. Daniel, great question. So, Daniel, the most important thing to figure out these days is what you're interested in and why. And by that, I challenge people, that can be a pretty overwhelming statement, right? Because it's like going to the ice cream parlor and someone saying, hey, there's 350 flavors. Which one do you want? That's no quick decision. Versus if you walk in and they say there's chocolate or vanilla, you can decide pretty quickly. This is what has happened to us all in the career space. A lot of the reason why people struggle to make any sort of decision in their career is because there's too much choice, and that makes them fearful that they're going to make the wrong one. So my advice to you is to first start with the idea of what industries am I interested in? What problems are being solved out there in the working world that I'm attracted to, that I find fascinating? And what you do is you narrow down a couple of industries, Danielle, and then you say, okay, now let me go talk to some people in those industries and figure out where my skills fit in. So how can I fit myself into this industry? That's the best way to do it. So if you know some problems that are bigger than yourself, I would say think problems in the world that are bigger than yourself that you'd love to solve. What are the industries that support that? Who are the companies that are, playing in that space? And then who do I know in those companies where I could sit and have a conversation with them, not asking for a job. I'm simply saying, hey, I love the mission of this company. I love the work that it does. I love why it exists. I want to figure out if there's a home for me there or how I might make a home for myself there down the line. But the only way you're going to know that is by talking with people. And this is why they say networking is such a vital part of your career, Daniel. Your network is your net worth. But you've got to start with identifying a couple of industries or a couple of problems that are of interest to you. Then you work your way backwards. Does that make sense to everyone? So we call it the interview bucket list, and we actually teach you step by step how to do that in our job search plan. And it is such a game changer. It's probably one of my favorite things about our program, because when we're working with individuals, they'll say, it never occurred to me that I could choose the industry I wanted to work with, and I could choose the types of employers I wanted to work with. You absolutely can, folks. In fact, you have every right and really should. Because if you choose where you want to work, if you take control of that, instead of just applying to whatever's open, you're going to be so much more excited about that opportunity. You're going to go into the relationship differently. And that is such a valuable tool to gain in your life. If you can take control and say, I'm going to use these tools and figure out where I want to work and build a plan to get jobs there, you will not believe how empowered you feel. That's the problem, right? Don't we all feel helpless in job search? We get online, we try to fit ourselves to these job descriptions at companies that we don't really know. We don't even care what they do, but we just need a job. And so we get the job. So how invested are you really when you get there? Not really. But if you're figuring out the industries that you want to work in, the problems that you want to solve, and the companies that are doing that, and then figuring out how your skills could fit into something there, now we're talking a fit. And you're going to feel more satisfied and successful. And guess what? You're going to do better. And guess what? They're going to love you. And it's all going to work out. And that's how that goes. So our job search plan teaches you how to do that, Daniel. So you definitely want to dive into that next. All right. So I've got a question from, I hope I'm saying this right, QI. How to show loyalty in an interview while they know you're currently working? That's an interesting question. So, well, here's the thing. If you're interviewing for a job and you're currently working, what do they already know about you? Little test for everybody out there. They know that you're not happy. So the more important thing, I don't think that you can worry about loyalty in the interview. What you need to talk about is your connection to what they do and why they do it. And again, this is part of career reinvention. I see so many people feeling helpless right now in their career and saying, I can't think of anything else I want to do in my career. I can't get excited about anything because they've never had the opportunity to take full ownership of the process. So if you're out looking and you're lucky enough to get to that point where you're sitting there, for a job and you're currently working, they already know something's wrong. Your goal is to not throw your current employer under the bus, but instead tell them the journey you got to this point where you're able to say, this is why I'm here talking to you all. This is the kind of thing I care about. This is the problem I want to solve and the industry I want to be in. And here's how I feel like I can leverage my skills. This is why I feel like it's such a good match. If you're a good match, then the expectation will be that you'll be loyal. So it's on you to prove how tightly you are, tied to what they are about. And I think if you do that, you'll be just fine. Yeah, very good. So, okay, folks. So at this point, if I don't have any other questions, just so you know, related to the Career Reinvention Challenge, I'm going to be signing off. I didn't mean to take up too much time again. If you are looking for our office hours, this is where we answer your career questions in real time. I'll be back on to do that on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, just so y'all know. So make sure if you're not a member of our site, please, hit the subscribe button and also check the bell. That's different than the subscribe button. The bell will notify you when we go live and when we drop new content. And that's how you'll get your automatic reminder to come join us for office hours where we answer all sorts of questions related to your career. Okay. Yeah. So one question from Nabil is, I'm a new member, but I'm lost about Slack. Any ideas to get structured and dive in? Yeah. So, Slack is an amazing communication tool for those of you that aren't familiar with it. Many, many businesses are using it these days, and I think it's going to continue to be very popular. The most important thing to do in Slack is to initially connect with your career coach. So make sure you send a message to @career coach introducing yourself. And then also you want to go to our general tab and post a hello to all the members, and they'll respond to you. And then from there, you just want to watch and comment, observe when it makes sense and comment when it makes sense. And you'll find your way. I think most people tend to be voyeurs in the beginning. They just kind of sit and watch what's going on. But I encourage you just to dive in and post a comment. Unlike social media, it's a private channel. It's not out there in the universe for people to see. So you can get in there and feel safe and comfortable and participate. But I think once you dive in, you'll really enjoy it. All right. Okay, team. So again, just to recap, you can go into Work It Daily's 28-day Career Reinvention Challenge course over on our website, download exercise number 4, which just went in today, and start working on rewriting your career narrative, retelling that story that you wrote just a couple of weeks ago. But as you'll see, I've got some caveats for you. I've got some constraints around how to write this story. And that's really going to force you to think about it and be as concise as possible. So very excited to see how you do with all that. As promised, there will be videos every single day this week to support you with that. Lots of really interesting talent coming your way to get your brain turning in a new direction. And of course, if you have questions or you hit roadblocks, what you do is you go into our Slack, our private Slack community, go to the challenge channel, post your questions and concerns. I'm handling all of those personally. So I'm in there responding to your questions specifically on this challenge. So don't be shy. When you ask a question, everyone benefits. Otherwise, I will see you next week when I do a little bonus session next Monday with a little bonus exercise to kind of round out the challenge, okay? And of course, I'll be here on Wednesday as well. So I'll see you all Wednesday at 1 o'clock if you want to come for office hours, okay? All right, team. Well, thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the challenge, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.